What's your home address? Where she's missing from?
14155 South Beaver Creek Road, number 201. The same as Ashley Pond.
And what's your daughter's name?
Miranda Gaddis, Gaddis. And no one's talked to her or seen her.
I know Ashley ran away, and the fact that the FBI are throwing both of these cases, into someone took them both.
I need to tell everyone about my father, man. About what he did to those girls.
Okay. What do you think he did?
I know what he did, man. He did it. He did that for girls. And then he killed them. This is where I have to stop against my family, man. Me and my brothers aren't like that. We got such good heart. If I have to, I will testify against my own father.
Crime often reveals the dual nature of humans. Sometimes, it's impossible to uncover the truth behind a person's mask. Digging through deceit and betrayal, we find that the real criminal is not who we expected, but someone unimaginable. Today's story is no different. It's about 12-year-old Ashley Pond, who vanished without a trace on January 9, 2002, in Oregon City. Then, 2 months later, her 13-year-old classmate Miranda Gaddis also disappeared on March 8, 2002. The events in this case are truly shocking. Families were devastated, the community was gripped with fear, and investigators were left puzzled, trying to untangle the complex web of lies. Every step of the investigation brought new surprises, taking the nation on an emotional journey from hope to despair, disbelief to horror. But how did the mystery unfold? Welcome back to Dark Case Files, where we explore solved, unsolved, and twisted cases from around the world. Today, we delve into the complex case of Miranda Gaddis and Ashley Pond. Oregon City, Oregon is a hidden gem in the Pacific Northwest. This charming city has a rich history and beautiful natural scenery, making it a must-visit for travelers wanting an authentic Oregon experience. From the iconic Oregon City Municipal Elevator to the historic McLaughlin House, there are plenty of cultural and historical sites to explore. Whether you're a history enthusiast, nature lover, or just looking for a peaceful getaway, Oregon City has something for everyone. However, in 2002, this place also witnessed the tragic deaths of 2 young girls. It all began on January 9, 2002, in Oregon City. On that winter morning, 12-year-old Ashley Pond was running late to catch the school bus. She woke up to her younger sister Brianna's voice, had a quick breakfast, and left just after 8 a.m. She wore Tommy Hilfiger jeans, a spaghetti-strapped shirt, and a sweatshirt, waved goodbye to her mother, Loy Pond, and rushed out the door. She had a dance class after school, but tragically, she would miss both school and dance class that day and forever.
I woke up in the morning, and I just told her to get up.
Her mother, who had woken her up and told her to get ready, didn't worry about her walking alone to the bus stop, which was just minutes from their home at the Newell Creek Village Apartments. Little did Loy know that this day would lead her daughter to a tragic fate. Ashley did not get on the bus and never made it to Gardner Middle School. The girl disappeared without a trace. As the day passed, Lori waited patiently for her daughter to call so she could pick her up from her dance class. When the call never came, Lori began to panic. She frantically called the school and the dance class and found out that Ashley didn't make it to either place. Helpless, Lori called all her friends, hoping Ashley might be with one of them. Unfortunately, she did not get a positive response from anyone. Out of options, Lori dialed 911 to file a missing person report for Ashley.
She's been missing since this morning. She would never run away, though. Okay, you don't think she'd ever run away? No, that's something. Okay.
Officers from the Oregon City Police Department were dispatched to Lori's Newell Creek Village apartment and started their investigation into the disappearance. Although a search was immediately conducted, police were not overly concerned, they considered the theory that Ashley had probably run away and would return in a few days. The news of Ashley Pond's disappearance spread like wildfire in Oregon City and soon became the only topic of conversation. Rumors floated around that Ashley had indeed run away from home, but there was not a single clue as to where she could be. When police searched Ashley's room, all her favorite possessions were still there. It was very unlikely for a 12-year-old to leave her belongings behind if she had run away from home. This further reinforced the fear that something terrible had happened to her. To find Ashley, her family started distributing missing persons flyers. Each moment felt endless as they could only think about finding her. Meanwhile, investigators retraced Ashley's last known steps. She was last seen at the apartment complex, and it was unclear if she ever made it to the bus stop. After interviewing children on the school bus, the police concluded she disappeared somewhere between leaving the apartment and reaching the bus stop. The bus stop was on a hill behind the complex, near a wooded area that kids often used as a shortcut. Investigators didn't know if Ashley took this route on the day she vanished. With no solid leads after days of searching, authorities started to consider the possibility of kidnapping or foul play. Without other clues, they began looking at people close to Ashley, delving into her life. Ashley was born on March 1, 1989. Lori, her mother, was just 16 and unmarried at the time. She later married her high school boyfriend, David Pond, and had more children. Ashley became the big sister to two younger siblings. She was very loving and protective, especially of her sister Brianna, who was only 18 months younger. Ashley was known for her laid-back and cheerful personality, always entertaining others with her bubbly nature. Ashley had many friends at Gardner Middle School and was part of the school's dance team, rarely missing a class. Her early years were typical for a girl her age, but things changed when her parents went through a messy divorce when she was around 9 or 10 years old. Among Lori's children, Ashley was most affected by the divorce. During the divorce proceedings, David Pond discovered a long-buried secret. Ashley's biological father was a man named Wesley Roediger Jr., not David, who Ashley had always believed to be her father. This revelation turned Ashley's world upside down. Despite the shock, she tried to accept the truth and began visiting Wesley regularly on weekends to spend time with him. However, these visits didn't last long. After a short period, Ashley told her family she no longer wanted to see her father, accusing him of something terrible. Towards the very end of the year 2000, Ashley confessed to her mother and sister that Wesley was physically taking advantage of her. She acknowledged that the last time it happened was Christmas Eve of 2000. On January 5, 2001, Wesley Roediger faced charges for abusing his daughter, Ashley. It's disturbing when a parent harms their own child. Wesley and his lawyer portrayed Ashley as a troubled girl who couldn't be trusted. Ashley retracting her statements against her father made her seem less believable. Eventually, Wesley pleaded no contest to a lesser charge and received just 6 months of probation with a no-contact order in September 2001. Interestingly, this happened shortly before Ashley disappeared. Lori, Ashley's mother, suspected Wesley's involvement and informed the authorities. He had both motive and opportunity to abduct Ashley. To investigate, authorities visited Wesley's Portland home. Initially, Wesley shared only background information about his relationship with Ashley. Surprisingly, he confessed to abusing her, blaming his actions on drug addiction and bad choices. He expressed regret and hoped for reconciliation with Ashley. While his apology seemed insincere, his alibi was strong. He claimed that on the morning Ashley disappeared, he had breakfast with his father at a local restaurant, then they worked on a truck until the afternoon. His father confirmed his story, and everything seemed to match. While Wesley was no longer a prime suspect, attention shifted to someone else close to Ashley, her mother, Lori Pond. Investigators uncovered troubling details about Lori, far from being a perfect mother. She had been accused of neglecting her children multiple times, with her alcohol addiction playing a significant role. Between January 25, 2001, and January 9, 2002, Lori had 5 encounters with law enforcement regarding her parenting, including locking her children out, being involved in domestic disputes, and excessive drinking. Police and the Department of Human Resources, DHS, were regular visitors to her apartment. Lori's relationship with Ashley was strained, often leading to heated arguments. During the last summer before Ashley's disappearance, she confided in friends and teachers that a friend's father had abused her. Shockingly, although reported to Oregon DHS by teachers, Lori took no action. A report concluded that Ashley and her siblings received minimal care under Lori's supervision. It's puzzling why Child Protective Services didn't intervene. When questioned by police, Lori admitted to conflicts with Ashley but emphasized their loving bond. She stuck to her initial statements without discrepancies. Although investigators did not come across any feasible motives, they still persisted with Lori to take a polygraph test. Passing the test, she was ruled out as a suspect. With Ashley's family and loved ones cleared, investigators faced a shortage of leads. The area around the Newell Creek apartment complex wasn't safe, with a high number of sexual offenders having access to the building. Oregon police interviewed many of them for new leads, but their efforts were fruitless. Exhausting all leads, the Oregon City Police Department sought help from the FBI on January 22, 2002. With the FBI's assistance, the search for Ashley Pond intensified. Ashley's sudden disappearance deeply affected the Oregon City community, especially her friends at school. On the morning of January 23, 2002, KATU news reporter Anna Song interviewed kids at the bus stop where Ashley used to catch her bus. One of the girls interviewed was 13-year-old Miranda Gaddis, Ashley's close friend and neighbor.
That happened to one of your friends or something, it's just really different and really sad.
Miranda shared in the interview that she had no idea what happened to Ashley but considered the possibility of kidnapping. She also mentioned that Ashley had talked to her sister about running away from home. Despite Miranda smiling during the interview, her worry for Ashley was evident. Tragically, the next time Miranda Gaddis's face appeared on the news, she too had disappeared mysteriously. Miranda's life was similar to Ashley's in many ways. They were close in age, resembled each other, lived in the same building, attended the same school, were part of the same dance team, and shared the same group of friends. Both had also suffered abuse from father figures and were raised by single mothers facing their own challenges. In a cruel twist of fate, the lives of these best friends were entwined one last time. Miranda Gaddis was born on November 18, 1988, in Oregon City to her parents, Jason Richard Gaddis and Michelle Duffy. Like Ashley, Miranda grew up with her siblings, including her older sister Marissa, younger sister Mariah, and younger brother Jason. Unlike Ashley, Miranda's parents were married when she was born, but she too suffered abuse from her father. In February 1995, when Miranda was just 6 years old, her father Jason was convicted of kidnapping 2 girls. He received a 6-month prison sentence and 54 years of post-release supervision. This incident led to the end of Jason and Michelle's marriage. Michelle then entered a relationship with a man named Brett Edward McKinney, who also abused Miranda and her siblings. Brett was later convicted and sent to prison. After enduring this abuse, Miranda and her siblings were placed in foster care briefly before returning to their mother's care. Despite the challenges, Miranda enjoyed life and cherished time with her siblings. Described as spunky, outgoing, funny, caring, and loving, Miranda had a passion for dance and dreamed of becoming a model one day. Admirably, Miranda took it upon herself to warn others about the dangers she had experienced, aiming to protect them from the dark side of the world she had witnessed. Motivated by Miranda's initiative, the Gardner Middle School dance team was preparing for a performance scheduled on March 23, 2002. The performance was meant to contribute to a fundraising event for a reward fund dedicated to finding Ashley Pond, whose disappearance had left the community in agony for nearly 2 months. Just like many others, Miranda also started to relax her vigilance. Little did anyone know that danger was still lurking nearby. On March 8, 2002, Oregon City started like any other day. The community was slowly returning to normalcy after the shock of 12-year-old Ashley's disappearance. In Miranda's household, the day kicked off like usual. At 7:30 a.m., Miranda's mother, Michelle, left for work, expecting Miranda to follow her daily routine and head to school on her own. Little did Michelle know that it would be the last time she saw her daughter. Around 1:20 p.m. that day, Michelle received a call from her oldest daughter, informing her that Miranda was missing from school, and none of her friends had seen her. Worried, Michelle contacted the school, where she confirmed that Miranda had indeed missed all her classes that day. Not wanting to waste any time, especially after what happened to Ashley just weeks before, Michelle promptly alerted the authorities about her daughter's disappearance.
What's your home address where she's missing from?
14155 South Beaver Creek Road, number 201. The same as Ashley Pond.
And what's your daughter's name?
Miranda Gaddis, Gaddis, and no one's talked to her or seen her.
Everyone, including the Oregon City Police, noticed the unsettling similarities between Miranda's disappearance and Ashley's. With the first case still unsolved, Miranda's disappearance felt like another devastating blow to the town. The community was in shock, and fear gripped every parent's mind. They hesitated to let their children go outside alone, worried that the abductor might still be lurking, targeting young girls. Law enforcement officials suspected that the two disappearances were linked, possibly the work of the same person. They raced against time to anticipate the next move of the unknown perpetrator, considering all worst-case scenarios. Foul play was at the forefront of their concerns. Despite the slim chances of finding the girls safe, investigators remained dedicated, investing their time and efforts in uncovering any evidence that could shed light on the mystery. The town was flooded with local and state law enforcement officials, along with FBI agents and their trained K-9 units. Major advertisements featuring the girls' faces were placed on billboards to raise awareness about the case. The dance event, originally planned for Ashley, turned into a fundraiser for both girls. Miranda's solo performance, which she had been preparing for, was carried out by her older sister. Detectives were actively sweeping the area, stopping cars, and interviewing locals. One particular house drew their attention, the residence of a 39-year-old man known as Ward Weaver. Weaver's house sat at the top of the hill where Ashley and Miranda's bus stop had been located. The home, situated at 2507 South Beaver Creek Road, was rented for $600 a month. Weaver had moved into this rental house in August 1997. By 2002, Weaver lived in the home with his 12-year-old daughter Mallory, his 19-year-old son Francis, and his girlfriend, whom he had met at work and become romantically involved with. Mallory, who attended the same school as Ashley and Miranda, was friends with both of them. They often spent time together, even hanging out in the same group and sometimes staying together after school. Mallory was well liked among her friends, mainly because her home was a place where kids could hang out freely. Weaver's large backyard was a favorite spot for games like hide and seek, and the kids enjoyed snacks without any restrictions. Weaver was known for allowing regular sleepovers, making his house a popular choice. Both Miranda and Ashley often joined Mallory, with Ashley staying over frequently. However, Mallory wasn't the only popular one. Her father, Ward Weaver, also played a significant role in entertaining the children. He was seen as the cool dad in the neighborhood, and his house was like a hub for the local kids. Situated near the bus stop where both girls were headed on the day they vanished, Weaver's house caught the attention of investigators, prompting them to pay a visit. Weaver was cooperative with investigators, acknowledging that both Miranda and Ashley had spent time at his house. However, he claimed to have not seen anything unusual on the days they disappeared. He mentioned that Ashley, in particular, had personal struggles and could have had reasons to run away, but he had no insights about Miranda. Although Weaver wasn't a suspect, investigators requested to search his home, which he agreed to willingly. However, the search yielded no evidence. Weaver provided an alibi, stating he was at work on both days and provided a time card as proof. With nothing suspicious found at Weaver's house, detectives pursued other leads. Among them were two young men in their 20s named Adam and Scott, who were roommates living in the same apartment complex. These men had gained a reputation among locals as perverts due to their behaviors of ogling young girls and making derogatory comments about them. Investigators discovered that in the past, these two individuals had been accused of making offensive remarks about Ashley and Miranda. This raised suspicions that they might have been involved in the girls' kidnappings. To gather more evidence, undercover FBI agents attended a prayer event for Ashley and Miranda, where Scott and Adam were also present. The agents overheard them discussing the missing girls and expressing a desire to avoid law enforcement attention. This prompted authorities to place Scott and Adam under surveillance. A few days later, the men were observed attempting to lure a young woman into their car, raising concerns of a possible abduction. The intervention by agents prevented the situation from escalating. Subsequently, police requested polygraph tests for Scott and Adam, which they surprisingly passed. Despite extensive interviews and a search of their apartment, no evidence linking them to the missing girls was found. As days turned into weeks and then months without significant progress in the case, investigators were desperate for any leads. They even turned to middle school gossip for information, unaware that it could change the course of the investigation and reveal a startling truth. Upon investigation, detectives discovered that in August 2001, prior to her disappearance, Ashley had accused Ward Weaver of assaulting her and had stopped visiting his house. Sadly, none of her friends, including Weaver's daughter Mallory, believed her. Miranda was the only one who supported Ashley during this time. Although the charges were reported, no actions were taken, and the accusations strained Ashley's friendship with Mallory. In the weeks before Miranda vanished, she cautioned some friends against going to Weaver's house, implying that he was dangerous. This revelation surprised investigators, but it was just the beginning of the twists in the case. Further probing revealed that Weaver had testified in court for Ashley's father, Wesley Rodiger, dismissing Ashley's allegations as lies. This raised doubts about Weaver's character and whether he could have committed such a heinous act. Investigators were left grappling with unanswered questions. In May 2002, Weaver was invited to the Oregon Police Department for a polygraph test, which he failed miserably. However, the test alone did not provide concrete evidence against him, as polygraph results are not admissible in court. Despite this, the test shifted the focus of the investigation, turning Weaver from a good Samaritan into the prime suspect. To uncover substantial evidence, investigators delved into Ward Weaver III's past. He was born on April 6, 1963, in Humboldt County, California, to Trish and Ward Weaver Jr. At the age of 4, Weaver's father left the family, leaving him and his 2 sisters in the care of their mother. Trish later married Bob Boudreau, an abusive alcoholic, and they had 2 more children together. However, the home environment remained volatile, with Weaver and his siblings often subjected to beatings by Bob. From a young age, Weaver displayed antisocial behavior, influenced by his explosive temper. He would often lash out at his younger siblings and exhibit cruelty towards animals, mirroring the violent behavior of the father figures in his life. In 1981, Weaver graduated from Marshall High School in Portland and joined the U.S. Navy Reserve. However, he was discharged the following year due to heavy drinking. During his time in the Navy, Weaver met Maria Stout, his future wife. Soon after, Weaver moved in with his mother, stepfather, and Maria. However, their relationship was tumultuous. 5 months into Maria's pregnancy, she was hospitalized due to Weaver's physical assault on her. Despite this, she chose not to press charges against him. In December of 1982, Maria gave birth to a son named Francis Weaver. Then, in August 1984, Maria and Weaver tied the knot and welcomed their second son, Alex. However, their marital conflicts persisted, leading to fights where both parents vented their frustrations on their children through physical abuse. Child Protection Services intervened, temporarily removing the children from their home. During this period, Weaver sought to reconnect with his biological father. However, delving into his roots led him down a dark path. Weaver discovered that his father was on trial for a double murder he had committed back in 1981. He had killed an 18-year-old Air Force recruit named Robert Radford and his 23-year-old girlfriend, Barbara Lavoie, near the Mojave Desert in California. Their bodies were found buried in his backyard. In late 1984, he was sentenced to death for his crimes. Weaver later expressed regret that he was not called to testify as a character witness for his father. Despite his father's heinous acts, Weaver claimed to still love him and opposed seeing him face execution. By 1986, Weaver and Maria were residing in Fairfield, California, with the Ordona family. On June 15, 1986, Weaver went out to drink and launched an unprovoked attack on the teenage daughters of the Ordonas, 16-year-old Jennifer and 15-year-old Jocelyn. As a result, Weaver was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the assault. During his time in prison, he expressed to a probation officer that his greatest fear was becoming like his father. Following his release in 1991, Maria gave birth to their 3rd son. However, their 4th child, Mallory, was born after Weaver's release. Despite the addition to their family, Weaver and Maria struggled even more as parents than they did as a couple. It became clear that their marriage was not sustainable. In 1993, Maria took action by filing a restraining order against Weaver, marking the end of their 9-year marriage. In August 1997, Weaver began a new relationship with a data entry clerk at Lockley Chain, where he worked in shipping. Along with his new girlfriend, his son Francis, and daughter Mallory, Weaver settled into a rental house on South Beaver Creek Road in Oregon City. As investigators delved into Ward Weaver's past, he took an unexpected step to portray himself as a victim of unjust scrutiny. On July 3, 2002, Weaver made a bold move by inviting reporter Anna Song from KATU News for an interview. By allowing the media into his home, Weaver aimed to shift the spotlight onto himself in a positive light. During the interview, Weaver addressed his failed polygraph test, blaming the Oregon police for incompetence.
The fact is, they come back around and want more help from me. I'm done.
Weaver openly discussed Ashley's allegations against him, asserting his belief that both girls did not meet the same fate. He claimed Ashley ran away.
I know Ashley ran away, and the fact that the FBI are throwing both of these cases, into someone took them both.
When Anna proposed a tour of Weaver's house, implying he should have nothing to hide, Weaver agreed. While showcasing his daughter's slumber parties in his bedroom, Weaver made a disturbing remark, stating,
"You could not walk anywhere in my front room without stepping on a body."
This unsettling comment hinted at something sinister lurking beneath the surface. After touring the inside of his house, Weaver casually strolled in his backyard with Anna. Little did anyone know, this seemingly innocuous video clip would later reveal a chilling twist, foreshadowing unsettling truths waiting to be uncovered. In subsequent interviews, Ward Weaver maintained his innocence, asserting he had no motive to harm the girls and portraying himself as a victim of law enforcement's narrow focus. At one point, he even declared his intention to leave Oregon, expressing frustration with the ongoing media attention.
I'm going to go check, a couple places out and see what's got the best chances for jobs, and I'm out of here.
Despite Weaver's public statements, authorities faced a deadlock. They recognized the urgency of the situation but lacked concrete evidence. Their window of opportunity was slipping away as they struggled to secure a search warrant. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Weaver himself would inadvertently provide the breakthrough they needed. On August 13, 2002, a frantic 911 call was received by the Oregon Police Department. The caller, identified as the girlfriend of Francis, Weaver's son, reported that Ward Weaver had assaulted her. She managed to escape and make the call from a nearby convenience store. Police quickly responded, but Weaver had already fled the scene. A nationwide manhunt ensued, and after hours of pursuit, Weaver was apprehended in the evening and taken into custody for interrogation. Authorities breathed a sigh of relief knowing that Weaver was no longer a flight risk or a danger to others while incarcerated. However, the investigation into Ashley and Miranda's disappearance was far from over. Investigators were still awaiting the issuance of a search warrant, hoping for a breakthrough. Their patience was soon rewarded when another 911 call came in, this time from Weaver's son, Francis. He expressed a need to confess something significant to the police. Francis disclosed what his father had revealed to him the day before.
I need to tell everyone about my father, man. About what he did to those girls.
Okay. What do you think he did?
I know what he did, man. He did an excuse that for girls. And then he killed them. This is where I have to stop against my family, man. Me and my brothers aren't like that. We got a good heart. If I have to, I will testify against my own father.
This call from Francis was a game-changer, providing the crucial evidence needed for investigators to secure the long-awaited search warrant. Despite the difficult decision to incriminate his own father, Francis believed he was doing the right thing. His sense of moral obligation outweighed the familial ties. When the FBI informed him that he was not biologically related to Ward Weaver but the product of his mother's affair, Francis found a sense of relief in this revelation. On August 23, 2002, Oregon police, aided by FBI agents, initiated a thorough search of the property. They cordoned off the area, fenced it up, and erected tents to prevent media coverage while they scoured for any evidence linking Weaver to the missing girls. The search extended to the backyard the following day, with cadaver dogs brought in. Hope dwindled for the investigators, but closure remained the fervent desire of the girls' loved ones. As investigators entered the backyard, they were met with a disturbing sight akin to scenes from a horror movie. A putrid stench hung in the air, emanating from a shed where strips of paper adorned with dead flies dangled from the ceiling. Inside the shed, a cardboard box was discovered containing human remains. These remains were promptly transferred to the medical examiners for identification. On Sunday, August 24, 2002, FBI personnel revealed the identity of the human remains in a news conference.
4:15 this afternoon, the Oregon State Medical Examiner has positively identified the remains discovered yesterday as the body of Miranda Gaddis.
While Miranda's remains were discovered, investigators continued their search for Ashley. When they found nothing more in the shed, they turned their attention to other parts of the backyard, particularly a suspicious concrete slab where Weaver had been during his interview. Breaking through the concrete, they found 3 unusually large barrels. In one of these barrels, they found another set of human remains. These remains were in a different condition than Miranda's, suggesting they had been stored in a freezer at some point. Upon further investigation, they located a freezer believed to have been used for this purpose. The medical examiner's office confirmed that these remains indeed belonged to Ashley Pond. The news was overwhelming for Ashley's family as well. Ward Weaver, already in jail, was charged with killing Ashley and Miranda, facing the death penalty in Oregon. Despite strong evidence, Weaver denied his involvement. Needless to say, the people of Oregon City were astounded by the outcome. It was frightening to think they were putting their children in danger every time they sent them to that predator's house. Naturally, they were curious to hear what Weaver had to say about his actions after being unmasked. In early 2003, Anna Song interviewed Weaver in jail as he awaited trial. She asked him how the girls' bodies ended up on his property if he didn't kill them.
So when you walked me over the concrete slab in July when we did our interview, you had no idea that Ashley Pond's remains were buried underneath it?
None. Nope.
His attitude showed no remorse, a stark contrast to the caring father he seemed to be in a July 2002 interview. He even laughed when reminded of his son's claims and confession. Before ending the interview, Song asked if he had anything to say to Ashley and Miranda's families, addressing Miranda directly, as well as Michelle and her family.
To Miranda, or actually to Michelle and her family, yeah, I'm sorry, but this, everybody's barking up the wrong tree on me.
Despite realizing his lies weren't working, Weaver continued to seek media attention, even against his lawyer's advice. On March 27, 2003, his lawyers withdrew from the case because he ignored their counsel. New attorneys asked the court for an extra year to prepare for the trial. Just when it seemed all that was left was waiting for the trial, Weaver had another tactic. In early 2004, Weaver began acting erratically, claiming to hear voices and stuffing toilet paper deep into his ears, sometimes requiring hospital visits to remove them. His lawyers requested a medical evaluation to determine his mental fitness for court. After a few months, the judge found him unfit for trial. However, on August 25, 2004, Weaver, now on heavy medication, was deemed fit to stand trial. Weaver, known for playing games, had a final twist. He wanted to plead guilty to avoid the death penalty. Before offering this plea bargain to Weaver, it was sent for approval to the Pond and Gaddis families. Despite their wish to see Weaver face the same fate as their daughters, they chose to avoid the distress of a lengthy trial. On September 22, 2004, Ward Weaver pleaded guilty to the aggravated murder charges. Before sentencing, the judge remarked,
When you look at the magnitude of what you've done here, I really just see nothing but evil.
Weaver received the maximum penalty, life in prison without parole. However, the plea bargain denied Ashley and Miranda's families the chance to learn why and how the girls were killed. Weaver's evil legacy didn't end there. In 2016, his stepson Francis Weaver was sentenced to life in prison for his role in a 2014 murder during a drug deal gone wrong. This made 3 generations of the Weaver family behind bars. The house where Ward Weaver committed his crimes still stands, now vacant land, reminding us to question how well we know our neighbors. Lori and Michelle left Oregon, haunted by the betrayal of a man they once trusted. What do you think really happened to Ashley and Miranda? Did Weaver's jail interview give you any insights? Let us know in the comments section below. If you found today's video interesting, please consider subscribing to our channel. Hit that like button and share our video with other crime enthusiasts. If you have any true crime stories you'd like us to cover, leave us a message in the comments section below. Until next time, goodbye.